Tulip Sadiq's current predicament, with mounting calls for her resignation as a minister, serves as a fascinating case study in political survival, family ties, and the perennial headache of optics in public life. This controversy, tinged with allegations of corruption, international intrigue, nepotism, could very well define not just Sadiq's career, but also test the mettle of Keir Starmer's leadership. At the heart of this scandal lies Sadiq's connection to properties allegedly tied to Bangladesh's ousted Awami League regime led by her aunt, Sheikh Hasina. And the revelation of her use of a London flat reportedly gifted by someone linked to the Awami League raises questions about propriety and a conflict of interests. And Sadiq, whose role includes oversight of anti-corruption policies, now faces accusations of benefiting from a farcinerous system of patronage and misappropriation, a deeply saprostomatic look at any minister, let alone one tasked with championing financial integrity. And Kemi Badenoch's sharp critique on social media only intensifies this scrutiny. Her statement that Starmer's handling of Sadiq reflects weak leadership puts Labour in a bind, and the Tories, well versed in scandals of her own, have seized the opportunity to portray Labour as hypocritical on ethics. And Keir Starmer finds himself in a precarious position. On the one hand, he has expressed confidence in Sadiq and praised her for referring herself to Sir Laurie Magnus, the independent arbiter, the independent advisor on ministerial standards. But on the other hand, the optics of inaction are damning. Sadiq's city minister role is no minor appointment. It places her at the front of combating corruption, and the minister embroiled in a corruption scandal herself is an albatross around Labour's neck, around Keir Starmer's neck, particularly as the party positions itself as the ethical alternative to 14 years of Tory scandal. And Starmer has always sought to present himself as a stickler for propriety, a lawyerly reformer. But as critics point out, his decision to keep Sadiq in post until the inquiry concludes appears dithering, a bureaucratic delay that risks undermining his image as a decisive leader. Sadiq insists that she's done nothing wrong, pointing to her voluntary referral to the ethics advisor as evidence her commitment to transparency. Her allies argue that she holds no overseas accounts, has no direct ties to the Awami League's financial misdeeds, the alleged misdeeds. However, the timing couldn't be worse. The allegations come on the heels of a Financial Times report detailing billions siphoned out of Bangladesh under the Awami League, a regime her family is deeply intertwined with. So the defence that Sadiq's family connections are coincidental and unrelated to her ministerial role is harder to sustain when Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus suggests she ought to resign if the properties are indeed linked to corruption. His scathing remarks amplify the narrative. Sadiq's position is untenable. And the spectre of nepotism haunts the case. Sadiq's family ties to Sheikh Hasina are no secret, but their implications are increasingly problematic. This sort of wandering chaos, the vagacious vauntage of vainglory. Her aunt's regime, toppled in a student-led revolution, is now synonymous with corruption and financial mismanagement. For Sadiq, every decision that she made, every property she occupied, every bank account she holds will now be examined under this microscope of public suspicion, and this raises broader questions about political dynasties and the extent to which personal relationships influence public service, and whether anything that she does can now be trusted. While she may be entirely innocent, the very perception of impropriety is enough to erode trust, not just in her, but in Labour as a whole. History is littered with examples of ministers embroiled in scandals who eventually become liabilities to their parties. Priti Patel is a good example. Her unauthorised meetings with Israeli officials in 2017 led to her resignation, and the incident highlighted the importance of ministerial accountability in maintaining public trust. Jonathan Aiken, the Conservative minister who famously promised to wield the sword of truth against his critics, only to be felled by revelations of perjury and corruption that led to prison. In his case, serves as a cautionary tale for politicians who underestimate the persistence of public scrutiny. Sadiq's case may not yet have reached such dramatic proportions, but the parallels are instructive. Scandals, once they gather momentum in politics, are hard to contain. So the investigation led by Sir Laurie Magnus will determine Sadiq's fate. If wrongdoing is found, her position will be untenable, and Starmer will be forced to act and will be asked why he didn't act sooner. However, even if she is cleared, the political damage is already done by her. And her withdrawal from a Treasury delegation to China underscores how these allegations have hindered her ability to function effectively. Starmer must weigh the costs of standing by Sadiq against the risks of alienating voters who demand accountability. And the longer this drags on, the more absurd it appears, a festering wound that undermines Labour's claims to moral superiority. Tulip Sadiq's position is more than a personal crisis. It's a litmus test for Labour's commitment to integrity. And in an era where where trust in politicians is at a nadir, perceptions matter as much as facts. And whether Sadiq's actions were indeed wrong or merely unfortunate, the optics of this scandal threatens to sap Labour's limited momentum as it eyes the next general election, or indeed as it tries to actually do the work of governing the country. As for Sadiq, her political future hangs in the balance, a vivid reminder that in politics family ties can be both a blessing and a curse. If nothing else, this debacle will provide yet another chapter in the absurdity of Westminster scandals, where the dance for power and propriety continues unabated.